Hello everybody, JGC Anime here, and welcome back to another video where today we are going to be reviewing The 7 Deadly Sins. An anime that, this may sound stupid, but I mainly wanted to watch because the voice actor for the main character, Meliodas, is the same voice actor who voiced Kirito in the Sword Art Online English dub, and of course I watch most shows dubbed. Yes, I'm a dub person, don't hate me. But I really wanted to check the show out just because of that, and so yeah, that's what I did eventually get into the show itself as like a show, but that was the main reason for me starting the show. But yeah, I'm going to try to explain the show's beginning and the introduction here, like in the story summary, but don't really expect me not to go into discussions in the later seasons. I'm just gonna not like dive into the story heavy. But yeah, let's hop right into this. So the basic story of the whole beginning of it is that a runaway princess is looking for a group called the 7 Deadly Sins, which were originally the King's Knights, who all had to go into hiding, due to being against the law and causing crimes, which is something I feel like is kind of a generic setup in a way, but the story itself, I'll get into that, why it works better here in a bit. But yeah, so after that she's gonna gather the 7 Deadly Sins, and it slowly transforms from just being her as a focus, just this entire group of people. Well, we still focus a lot on the main character, on one of the basic huge main characters, Meliodas. It still tries its best to balance out the characters, which yeah, I'll discuss that in a minute. So what I like about this show, I really like its characters. I find a lot of them really charming and really nice. Kind of not nice in per se, but I find a lot of them entertaining. There were also characters I really didn't care for. It's just characters that kind of feel like they're just shoehorned in there because reasons. But I actually really like all the characters. In fact, there are for most of the 7 Deadly Sins, I actually really like most of them. Because the 7 Deadly Sins, I'm gonna just say all their names if I can remember them, are Meliodas, Ban, King, and then there's also Diane, and there's a couple more. I know there's Merlin, and oh my gosh, trying to remember the others' names. And Gother and Escanor. It took me a minute to remember those. But I find most of the 7 Deadly Sins quite nice. I find a lot of their stories really interesting. There were a few I really weren't, I wasn't really a fan of. There's only one major one I don't like, and that would probably be the character Diane the Giant, which I'll go into that in the spoiler section why I don't like her character that much. But for the most part, I like most of the 7 Deadly Sins, and it generally does have a lot of charm to its show that keeps me really enthralled with it. And yeah, if we're going to try into some spoiler-free thoughts, I did find their adventures in the first season or into really good. With them gathering the 7 Deadly Sins while also facing off against all these different opponents, I found it a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed those adventures. Season 3 is another story. But yeah. So, I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons, that's for sure. But I also have some complaints about season 3 because by that point all the team is there, and yeah, it's kind of hard to create a whole gather the group balance when everyone's there, and it's hard to explain without spoiling things. But I really enjoy the first and second season. I find a lot of the characters in the show extremely charming, and I generally found the stories gawking. I'm just holy heck, this is incredible. I found it a lot of fun. But I also wanted to discuss the things I dislike, so I think we're about to enter the spoiler section. Here is a timestamp if you want to avoid the spoiler section, but if you've already seen the 7 Deadly Sins, or you're fine with getting spoilers, I'm going to count down from 5, and if you're still here after the spoiler section starts, then it's all your choice. Okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, first things first, why I don't like Deanne's character very much. She just doesn't really stick with me that much. I've always found her character to be extremely annoying. Like, I understand she's meant to be the cheerful one of the group who just kind of enjoys things while at the same time is kind of like the naysayer who tries to apply certain points of view into the story. I've always found her character to be boring. Every single other character had this really cool like backstory or idea behind them, and I just found her super duper annoying. Even within season 3, there is a moment where she and the one of the other Seven Deadly Sins king have to go through this whole trial, and oh my lord, that's probably the most interesting thing that they do. Like, that's probably the only time I actually thought of Deanne as a okay character. But for the most part, I always found her super annoying, and half the time I really wish she was gone. And when she was gone, it made me really enjoy it. For the most part. There were also a lot of problems with season 3 as well. Because, well, as I said before, by that point, all the 7 Deadly Sins are here now. Everyone's there. Everything's moving. But it's just so boring. The pacing is really weird. And the action is so dull. Like, what happened in season 3 that kind of drowned it out of seasons 1 and 2? Season 2 didn't have the amazing, phenomenal story either, but neither did season 1. But they still managed to make it work by this charming cast of characters. But there's nothing really here that makes me like this whole setup. Especially with Meliodas turning evil, I thought, okay, he's gonna snap out of this by the end, right? Nope, he's still evil at the very end. Completely different from what the opening said, but okay. Oh, by the way, in season 3, Meliodas turns evil just because he wants to save the princess, who, if we watch the show, know, is called Elizabeth. And it's just, I don't know, just something about Meliodas felt off to me. One thing definitely is how they just decided to dub Meliodas in that season. You see, I think that Bryce Papenbrook, the voice of Kirito, and Meliodas, I think he voices them really well. I found the high-pitched charm of Meliodas to really match that character extremely well. And I thought the nice, happy, calm Kirito really matched the whole voice of Kirito. But with evil Meliodas, he just goes from talking like a high-pitched, energetic guy to suddenly this dark, brooding type. It feels so off to me. I'm sure that's probably maybe how it is in the sub as well, but it just felt super off. I just couldn't take it. It was just so weird. And he also did that deep voice for Meliodas' I think, brother, I believe. He didn't sound nice either. I really did not like the deep Meliodas voice. Just, I could not see that voice on those characters, and it just felt really off. And season 3 on its own was just the worst season out of the 3. I really did not care for it. In fact, I really don't like it. Season 4 is coming along soon, and I do plan to watch it when it comes out, but I don't know how I'll feel about it, because season 1 was decently good, season 2 was also really nice, but season 3 definitely was a huge downgrade in my opinion. It felt super off. But I still enjoy the show. Season 3 was a very meh type of emotion. I really didn't find that much interest in it. But if I had to say some things I really liked about the previous seasons are definitely, one thing I actually really liked in season 1 was like how in season 2 they tried to like retcon the last bit of season 1, where Elizabeth goes off with Meliodas and the other 7 deadly sins to find the rest of the 7 deadly sins. When they retcon that, I actually didn't mind, because if anyone has seen my other review for the show High School DxD, I don't know if I mentioned it in there, but they retconned something in one of the seasons, and I hated it. I really loved that story arc in it, and for them to just erase it from history, I hated it. I hated it so freaking much. And I made me really hate retcons. But I think the 7 Deadly Sins retcon, where in season 2, them leaving to find the other 7 Deadly Sins was all a dream, but everything else was still there, I thought it worked. I actually generally found it really nice. I really enjoyed it. And I think it was very nice. The show as a whole has been an interesting ride. I found the characters in season 1 and season 2 to be decently likable. And I don't care what other people say. Personally, my favorite character is Bond. I think he's amazing, he's hilarious, and he's just my top favorite character in the entire show. Out of everyone, I think he's the best. But I just find the show a lot of enjoyment. I thought it was gonna be like a generic like hunt down the group and go fight against something type thing, and while it was kind of like that, it had its own little charm, and I found it to be extremely enjoyable. When it tried to stray away into a completely different plot in season 3, that was a little less enjoyable because I found it to be pretty dull to the previous seasons. Maybe it's because Meliodas wasn't really Meliodas for almost that whole season, and just it felt like everything that was the charm of the first 2 seasons was just completely gone. But it just didn't stick out as much. Although I am going to admit something. When Meliodas dies, I think it was in season 2, I legitimately almost cried. I knew there was not an actual season 3 out yet, and I was just like, no, Meliodas! I almost completely burst out into tears. And I actually thought he was gone, especially with how after that they completely changed the opening for Meliodas to be gone. So that definitely made me sad, but once he came back, I was super excited, and the show itself has made a nice impact on me, and I found it to be pleasantly enjoyable. So, we're at the conclusion of this brand new review, and what are my final words? I'd say the show is decently enjoyable. While in the later seasons it does grow a bit weaker, it still has its charm, and I found myself to really enjoy this show. It wasn't the most magnificent thing I've seen, but I found it something worth watching at least once or twice. So I rate this anime a 7 out of 10. I think it could improve in a couple areas, but overall it was a highly enjoyable show, and it would just be a lot of fun to check out either on your own or with your friends. It's just something fun to watch. I'm JGC Anime, and I thank you all for listening to my review. Peace.